I'm Lissie.
And I'm Simmons.
We're here to talk to you about stuff.
Especially history. We're doing a podcast about history. Hi! We're the Ink Drinkers. Contrary to our name, we don't actually drink ink.
We just drink tea and talk about history.
So join us as we learn about history.
Indeed.
Hello there. I am Simmons.
I am Lissie.
And we are the
Ink Drinker Historians.
We are here with another episode of 12 Doors, the Six Tudor Monarchs.
You got it.
I
She's
got
getting
it.
it, guys. She's getting
I'm
it.
getting it.
Yep. And last episode, just a quick recap, we talked about King Edward VI and Lady Jane Grey, also nicknamed the 9-Day Queen. So this episode, we're going to talk about the person who made her the 9-Day Queen. Because
Wow, that's a very nice way to word it.
That is, yeah. We're going to talk about Mary the First. I'm saying Mary the First because then you've got Mary, the Queen of Scotland, and then you've got Mary, Queen of Scots. So, Mary the First. Anyhow.
Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary. She was nicknamed Bloody Mary, and we will get to that later. Anyhow, she was the daughter of Catherine Aragon, who was, as previously mentioned, the sister-in-law of Henry VIII, and then she became his wife after her first husband, Arthur, died. Mm-hmm. Mary was born February 18th, 1516, in Greenwich, England, at the castle there. I can't pronounce the name.
I think it's pronounced Greenwich, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, Greenwich. That would make more sense.
Though that might be a separate place. I don't know.
It might. Yeah, she was marked the princess of Wales at that point and was sent to the Welsh border for several years while King Henry tried to negotiate a marriage for her. You know, she's a princess, got to make those alliances. Mary was educated well by her mother and tutors, especially in music and language. She was really good in writing and reading and speaking Latin and French, but she was also very proficient in Spanish and Greek as well, and she loved to play the lute. If you look at her account books, it shows just full things of her buying lute strings and things for the lute and all that.
Oh, man.
It's slightly ridiculous. Yeah. She was devastated by her father's nullifying the marriage between Catherine and himself. And in 1533, Mary was declared illegitimate because Anne Boleyn insisted that Mary be declared illegitimate after Elizabeth came along. Mary was forced to be the lady in waiting to Elizabeth, who was born on September 7th, 1533. Mary never acknowledged Anne Boleyn as queen, and this resulted in a lot of threats and abuse from Anne. In 1536, after Anne Boleyn's beheading and Jane Seymour ascended to the throne as queen beside King Henry VIII, Mary was reinstated as a princess at Jane's request. Henry VIII allowed this under one condition, that Mary sign a document that declared Catherine of Aragon, who had died at that point, that declared Catherine to be in the wrong, that she was not a queen, her and Henry, that sort of thing. And Mary, she did sign this document, and she was introduced into the palace again that very Christmas. She did this, however, under pressure from both Henry VIII and her cousin Charles V, who I believe at the time was emperor of the Roman Empire of the time. Mary never forgave herself for betraying her mother. For Henry's next two wives, Mary lived a semi-normal... What?
Just the sentence, his next two wives, is mildly disturbing.
It's true. For Henry's next two wives, Mary lived a semi-normal life as a royal princess, even though her and Elizabeth were not heirs to the throne with the arrival of Edward VI because they were still declared illegitimate daughters.
Well, he was still the heir because he
Yeah.
was the son.
Yeah. And Edward was still the heir,
Yeah.
but the daughters were declared illegitimate and
Yeah.
such. When Henry VIII married Catherine Parr, Mary did connect with this new wife in a whole new way. Like, they bonded. And the two were good friends, even with their differences in worldview. It was because of Catherine that Mary and Elizabeth were reinstated into the line for the throne, though Edward, of course, was first in line. It would then go Mary, Elizabeth. Still, neither princess was declared legitimate. Throughout the reign of Henry VIII, Mary never married, largely because her father did not arrange any marriages, which in their part was hard to get as Mary was still declared illegitimate, and who wants to marry the illegitimate I can't talk.
I can't today either.
The illegitimate daughter of King Henry VIII. Like, that was very hard for Mary because she longed to have children of her own, to be a mother, just have that mother bond. She tried her best to be that motherly older sister to both Elizabeth and Edward, but she kind of disconnected from them as they got older because their views are different than hers. They got older, that sort of thing. After Henry VIII's death in 1547, Mary retired to one of her own estates and lived there for the majority of King Edward VI's reign. It was during this time that she estranged herself from Catherine Parr, and she thought that the former queen should not marry so soon after Henry VIII's death because Catherine, the king dies, and she's mourning, and then Thomas Seymour comes along and he's like, hey, I like you and I can't marry Mary because no one will let me, so I'll marry you instead, sort of thing. So she's like, well, let me talk to people. And so she talked to Mary about it, just, hey, are you okay if I do this? You don't want this, sort of thing. And Mary got kind of mad at her, just, hey, why aren't you honoring my father's memory? Why are you doing this? This shouldn't happen. It's too soon, that sort of thing. Nothing else happened during Edward's reign. Mary just lived quietly on her estate, for the most part, doing Mary things. However, after Edward's death in 1553, there was a lot of confusion because before Henry VIII died, it was assumed that Mary would take the throne in the event that Edward should die before she does. However, Edward, as we explained in the last episode, did not want a Catholic queen, instilling the rigorous Roman Catholic regime back into England. So he changed things around a little bit and put Jane Grey as the next in line for throne instead of Elizabeth.
Mary.
Instead of Mary. This resulted in Jane Grey's 9-day rule, as we mentioned. And after the 9-day struggle, Mary took Jane's place as the Queen of England. And in order that England may turn back to Catholicism, Mary attempted to repeal many of King Henry VIII's laws. And in 1543, she married King Philip of Spain to ensure that she had a Catholic-believing heir, someone that would keep that strict regime and stuff. Among the laws she enforced was the heresy law, in which Protestants were persecuted unless they joined the Roman Catholic Church. This earned Mary the title and nickname Bloody Mary. Her marriage to Philip II of Spain proved unfruitful. Philip became bored. He rarely spent time in England. And this depressed Mary because what does she want most in this marriage? She wants a child. She just wants a kid that she can nurture, someone that can become the heir since she's childless, or someone that she can, become her heir, that sort of thing. And now she's childless. She's stuck with a husband that is off in Spain all the time. And this made her depressed. It gave her several illnesses and that were related to this wish for a child. and that sort of thing. She died in late 1558 and was buried where all the other kings and queens of England are buried, in Westminster, I believe.
Is it Westminster Abbey?
Yeah, Westminster Abbey, I believe. I think it's there. Don't quote me on it. I believe it's there. Simmons is going to look this up like a nice Simmons. Yeah. So if you look at Mary from like the Protestant's point of view, she was just an awful, horrible person. But if you look at Mary from like an understanding point of view, she's actually just a person that was devout to her faith or her worldview. She was devout to her worldview. She just wanted a kid.
According to my searches, everybody's kind of buried in various places, including Windsor Castle, Westminster Abbey, St. George's Chapel. Oh, that's at Windsor Castle. So Windsor, Westminster Abbey, and a couple other places, but those are the main ones.
So that is
the story of Mary.
The first, nicknamed Bloody Mary.
Mm-hmm. Tune in next time to learn about the final Tudor. I like saying Tudor because that actually makes my slogan work. Elizabeth
the First.
Yes. Indeed.
Yep.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. I'm Lissie.
And I'm Simmons.
We're the Ink Drinker Historians.